なんでここにいるの？ミリム。
何やら面白そうなことをしておるような気がしてな、来てみたのだ。私をのけ者にするとはいい度胸でないものよ。俺は魔王になった。ここが迷宮の最深部、精霊の住みか。さあ、誰から行く？何？
よし、完成だ。少し下がってろ。来い、グレーターデーモン。
お呼びでございますか、マスター。
ではお前にベレッタの名を授ける。
よく来て。
リムルとは心の友、魂の片割れ。
はあ？暴風竜？ゼルダラが復活したですって？んなわけないでしょ。ゼルダラは昔私がワンパンで沈めてやったからね。口ほどにもないやつだったわよ。あいつの時代はとっくに終わったってわけ。恐怖するならあんなそよ風流じゃなくて私を恐れる山がいいのさ。はあゼルダラ、悪いけどこの子の相手してやってくれる？ゼルダラ。
Hoje em dia é difícil encontrar uma menina que não trabalha no job. Todas viciadas em sentar, pedindo pix pro cara que é bigode. Hoje em dia é difícil encontrar
Our guardian, Lord Veldora, allow me to congratulate you on your triumphant return.
You must be a dryad. I remember your kind. Thanks for watching over the forest of Jurafor.
I'm unworthy of your praise. Such a small task is in no way enough to repay you for taking in me and my sisters, especially when we were all separated from the Queen of Spirits.
It was nothing.
You don't hit the storm dragon!
Whoa, you gotta be kidding.
こちら俺の友達のベルドラ君です。
防空竜ベルドラである。想像しくせぬのなら勝手に森に入るがよかろう。
はじめまして、俺はスライムのリムル。悪いスライムじゃないよ。はじめまして、俺はスライムのリムル。悪いスライムじゃないよ。普段の力を出せていません。師匠！大賢者、解析しろ。これ全員死んでいるのか。この女が。落ち着け。
リムル様、わしも二度と不覚を取るつもりはござらん。
さて、俺も準備するか。No one escapes. I've gained a new skill. I doubt I'll have many chances to use it. Might as well see what it's capable of. Yes.
Through the use of the unique skill Merciless, you have harvested the souls of all the humans within the immediate area. However, the individuals called Embarrass and Reiki are excluded as targets.
Seems merciless to me.
Wait a second. What did you just do?
5規定条件が満たされました。これよりパーフェクトフェスティバルが開始されます。
なんだ。最終命令だ。
俺を守って町まで連れ戻れ。でも悪魔召喚を発動。出てくる悪魔を撃ち払え。
貴様、もしかして原初の。
おや、博識ですね。
あいつはなんという恐ろしい奴をこの世に解き放ちよったんじゃ。
発動ディスペアタイム。
成功しました。ユニークスキル H あるものはアルティメットスキルラファエルに進化しました。
貴様が向かう戦場には我らが主が向かわれるから主。決して怒らせてはならぬお方を激怒させてしもうた。
ユニークスキル無慈悲なるものにてこの場に生存する全ての人間の魂を刈り取りました。
究極の魂の秘術。
これが生まれたての魔王だって。
そうか、魔王リム覚醒していると見るべきか。
その邪魔者こそ今話題にしていたリムルださ。
お前の名前はディアブロだ。
ディアブロ。
すいません。修行の再開を推奨します。
私ユフィートは今より修行の鬼となります。
個体名ベルドラはサボりすぎだと確信しました。ねえ、早急にアルティメットスキルを獲得するように。
何かあったらすぐ我を呼ぶのだぞ。
Oh boy. That dude's bad news. He's in a class all of his own, so this is one of the oldest demon lords, D. Crimson.
Ni 二度と逆らえないよ。
よし。
勝てよ。
我らの新たなる呼び名をつける権利、それを君に進呈する。これは大変名誉なことだから。
8人も欲しい。8星ってオクタグラムだっけ？発生魔王オクタグラム。
はじめまして皆さん。私の名はディアブロと申します。エドワルド・オモーション。なかなかに面白い冗談です。人間の我がおい、もう黙れ。人間をなめるなよ。貧弱。
どうするつもりだね、お嬢さん。
心配無用ですわ。
おお、見事だ。娘が。なぜだ。なぜ魔物が神聖魔法を操れるのだ。
残る一つの四天王の座をかけて予選を勝ち抜いた強者たちがここに集う。バイバイ。
預けてくれ。
貴殿、そこの悪魔をどう処するつもりだ。その危険極まりない現象。現象？
Demon Lord Rimuru is very familiar with human society. I no longer harbor any doubts he is in fact an otherworldist. Even without his title, Rimuru is a force to be reckoned with. The disciples of the hero Shizu Aizawa, Grandmaster Yuki Kagurazuka, and the saint Hinata Sakaguchi are known for their strength, but ultimately might not hold a candle to Demon Lord Rimuru.
So, does that mean...
Refusal is not an option for us.
Veldora is attacked by his older sister, Belgrin. Fearing that Rimuru will be affected, he cuts the connection with him. Rimuru, knowing the situation, he goes to Veldora. Veldora was attacked and had his mind manipulated. Rimuru faces two true dragons. Alone. Naming Raphael would cause any evolution. He truly named Raphael to give it a sense of confidence. He didn't do it to expect any of the gains. He did it to help his partner. Raphael evolution to Manas instantly confirmed Rimuru's threat. As a true dragon-level monster, nobody in Rimuru Force knew about Raphael except for Veldora and Ifrit. So obviously the enemy had no idea about the existence of Ciel, even Velgreen. And right now Veldora was in a state where communicating was almost impossible. To the enemies, nothing happened.
Come forth, my demons. Call demon create summon gate. Answering his summons, the 4 devil lords manifested, bringing along their minions, the 7 demon dukes, and in addition, the 100 demon chevaliers and the 600 greater demons.
Due to the overwhelming absorption of magicules, your body is evolving. You can now transcend into a true dragon. Confirm. Rimuru hesitated for a moment, then whispered yes. The world trembled as aura exploded, rewriting the very laws of nature. From the storm's heart emerged, not a demon lord, but something far greater. Rimuru Tempest, the 5th true dragon, born from chaos itself. As I finished devouring the storm dragon, my evolution had completed, and it appeared that I was born as a unique species. Now, to check out the new body. Thanks to that, the body that once looked around 12 years old, now looked around the age of 16. Dora, you alright? How many times have I told you? Or rather, look at you. Well done defeating my main body safely. As good a moment as any, as well as a small test. Made an attack towards Velgrin. A single strike from that sword had pierced the heavens and split the seas. Literally, the deadly shockwave bore no resemblance to the swing of a sword, and it severed Velgrin's wings in the middle of his evasion.
A fuerte, a fuego maquinita, a fuerte. Yo te quiero dar papi sin miedo. Yo te quiero dar papi sin miedo.
だって君弱いもん。
Miedo. Ay, dale, 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 dale. Quiero no, dale, no, dale. Dale, dale, dale. Quiero no, dale, no, dale.
Zegion, the son of insect king Zalamis and the grandson of evil god Ibaraj. He was once a simple insect monster in the forest of Jura tasked with protecting Akito. After joining the Tempest Federation and being trained under Veldora's tutelage, while also being optimized by Wisdom Lord Raphael, Zegion became an existence comparable to primordial demons and true dragons.
Zegion calmly walked up to Dino, who had been thinking long and hard. "Is there anything else you would like to say?" he asked. "Haven't you just been hiding from me all this time to force out my cards? Don't be ridiculous, it's despicable." Of course, Zegion was unconcerned. Dino also realized this, and the conversation ended. Tension flared between the two. Dino knew Zegion's strength. This was an advantage for Dino, however. His trump card had also been exposed to Zegion. In that case, there was no other choice but to go head-to-head.
When Dino faced off against Zegion, he underestimated the true extent of Zegion's power. Zegion, the humanoid insector favored by Rimuru and trained by Veldora, possessed combat abilities that surpassed even the primordials. Tasked with protecting Ramirez, Zegion's defenses were unshakable, and his prowess in battle made him a formidable opponent. Dino, lost in thought, decided to strike with his deadly Fallen Strike, aiming for a surprise attack. He believed Zegion wouldn't see it coming. But as Dino's greatsword descended, Zegion intercepted it with calm precision. It was then that Dino realized something was off. Zegion had momentarily stopped moving, and Dino sensed an unnatural aura. In a shocking revelation, Zegion extended his left hand and unleashed his Dimension Ray, a series of light beams that struck Dino with intense, searing pain. Zegion then revealed the truth. Dino had been trapped in an illusion from the very start. The illusion, created by Zegion's ultimate skill, Mephisto, Lord of Fantasy, had manipulated Dino's perceptions entirely. To end the battle, Zegion unleashed his ultimate move, the Dimension Storm, a high-energy, rainbow-colored force that erased Dino from existence, leaving absolutely nothing behind. The overwhelming power of the world of illusion and Zegion's control over reality sealed Dino's fate.
Rudra, you see, he reached his limits long ago. He reincarnated himself so many times that it wore his soul out. What you see there is Rudra, but it's also not. He's long been replaced by Michael, Lord of Justice. Rudra once held pure and idealistic dreams of creating a perfect world where disputes could be settled with words rather than violence. The man with these naive ideals was slowly corroded away over time as Michael's control took control over his mind, his exhausted soul being chipped away by repeated rebirths, only serving to exacerbate the problem. The fight that I fought for 2,000 years, it was to protect everyone, to delay the inevitable, to let the world stay in peace for a few more centuries. In exchange, I gave up my soul as it slowly corroded away, with each battle against Michael, the Lord of Justice. My dream was to unite the world, not to dominate it. I am the most selfless hero, and the greatest emperor the world has ever seen.
Velgrind took a quiet breath as she leapt into the space between worlds, seeking Rudra yet again. Each new leap was like stepping into an unknown dream, uncertain yet filled with traces of his presence, his soul scattered across endless realms. She remembered the first piece she found, a golden-haired youth ruling a starry continent. He had Rudra's spirit within him, faint but unmistakable. She stayed by his side, close enough to protect him, but always holding back. That was what he wanted after all. She watched as he became a king, conquered his neighbors, and left behind a legacy. His memory remained immortalized, yet she knew he was gone. And so it continued, each encounter more heartbreaking than the last. She would find him, recognize him, and yet never be fully recognized in return. She understood eventually. Veldanova hadn't created a single world, but many. Not parallel, but separate realms where Rudra could exist, only to vanish again.
his town could hasten the onset of the Great Tenma War. The Great Tenma War. The 500-year cycle of this great war begins with the invasion of the angels. Their targets are developed cities. The reason is unknown, but because the condition under which they are targeted is clear.
After Tempest eliminated 900k soldiers from the Eastern Empire, Rimuru decided to use the souls of the soldiers to evolve his 12 most powerful warriors into demon lords. He gave each of them a title. With this showing of strength, the world decided to give him a title as well. The title was the Chaos Creator Rimuru Tempest.
Rimuru Tempest did not set out to rule the world, but from the moment he was born, the world began to lose control. The title Chaos Creator was never self-proclaimed. It emerged as observers realized a terrifying pattern. Every decision Rimuru made rewrote the natural order. He named monsters, and they evolved beyond reason. He offered protection, and entire species rose from extinction to global powers. What should have taken centuries happened in days. When Rimuru destroyed Falmuth's army, it wasn't just a massacre. It forced nations to redefine war, law, and divine authority. When he became a demon lord, the balance of power shattered. When he founded Tempest, racial hierarchies that existed for thousands of years collapsed overnight. Even the system that governs the world, the voice of the world, struggled to categorize him. Rimuru doesn't spread chaos through malice. He creates it through change. Old rules fail, old gods panic, old eras end, and in their place, a new world is born, shaped by a slime who simply chose kindness and became the Chaos Creator.
Finally, the day had come. Guy bet on the last possibility, all according to the rules of the game. He entrusted the most unknown and hopeful of his pawns, Rimuru, to be the final judge. In all honesty, he wanted to make the move himself, but Guy obeyed the rules to the end. As a result, in the distance, the breath of his friend vanished. I'm sure it's not just Rimuru who could have done it. Guy couldn't help but sigh. There was no bitterness or regret. There was only mourning for the man who was his best friend. That's why I told you, asshole. Like this kind of thing is only right for us as demons who have never been emotionally shaken. Muttering this, Guy did not notice the tear running down his cheek. He just prayed silently for Rudra's soul. And just like that, the millennia-long game between Guy and Rudra came to an end. While maintaining his usual fearless smile, Guy's heart inwardly sank with grief. The game was over, but the seeds of conflict were still smoldering. And that would be the signal for the beginning of the worldwide demon war, Tenma.
Michael wasn't just an ultimate skill. He had evolved into a Manus, a digital life form with a will of its own. He held authority over all angelic ultimate skills.
And when combined this with his mastery over Suspended World, he was almost invincible.
When the manas of justice descended, the world itself held its breath. Michael, the embodiment of angelic authority, the administrator of divine law, a being who could command ultimate skills, dominate wills, and enforce order upon creation itself, and standing against that absolute system, Rimuru Tempest. This was not merely a clash of power, it was authority versus anomaly. Michael wielded control over angelic dominion, manipulating laws like code, issuing commands that would paralyze even demon lords and true dragons. His presence carried the weight of heaven's judgment, but Rimuru was no longer bound by the system. With his Manus evolved, his ultimate skills refined beyond calculation, he operated outside predictable parameters. Analysis occurred faster than causality. Countermeasures formed before attacks completed. Energy was absorbed, repurposed, perfected. Every law Michael invoked, Rimuru adapted to. Every restriction imposed, Rimuru transcended. The battlefield became a collapsing cosmology, divine commands colliding with a being who rewrote outcomes in real time. For the first time, the so-called administrator of justice faced something he could not fully govern. Because Rimuru was not just another existence within the system. He was the one evolving beyond it. And when order confronted limitless growth, justice faltered.
Azathoth, God of Void, is one of Rimuru Tempest's ultimate skills, and the strongest ultimate skill in Tensura. With this skill, Rimuru has complete control over space-time. It was created by Ciel, combining the ultimate skills, Beelzebub and Raphael. Full gluttony, nihility collapse, imaginary space, true dragon release, space-time domination, multi-dimensional barrier, time wrap, imaginary blade, and many more.
Michael realized that his body was disintegrating. He was the first being to bear witness to the strongest ultimate skill, Void God Azathoth. And before he had time to face that inescapable reality, "So then, do you have any last words?" Rimuru asked him. Accepting defeat, Michael thought to himself. How could he have lost when he had outperformed them in every way? He could not find the answer. That's why he asked a different question rather than sighing in defeat. "You, who are you?" To which Rimuru replied with a puzzled look. "Hey, me, I'm just a slime." Veldanova's offspring, the title of the Dragon Princess, was not an exaggeration. The sole individual who wielded infinite power, that was Demon Lord Milim.
Felway, who had been watching from the sidelines, realizing that he stood little chance of defeating Ruru in a direct confrontation, Felway knew he had to take a more extreme approach. In a desperate and calculated move, he unleashed an incredibly powerful attack that no one saw coming. With a terrifying display of magical might, Felway opened a rift in space and time, sending Ruru to an unknown and perilous realm. This dimension, a place beyond the normal fabric of reality, was one where even a great demon lord like Ruru could be lost forever. It was a void where time and space twisted in unimaginable ways, offering no escape and threatening to trap Ruru in an endless, timeless prison.
Diablo's onslaught began. Feldway's art was deflected by Diablo's claw scissors. They were clearly on a different level, but the fact that they didn't take that into account was terrifying. Feldway, who had been overwhelming them until now, was being one-sidedly pushed back. It was impossible not to be dumbfounded, and finally, the time to settle things had come.
End of World Requiem.
Diablo's full-power attack had caused Feldway to fall to the ground. It was wonderful, but an unbelievable feat.
As the world is facing a never-before-seen crisis from the dreaming evil god and its army, two powerhouses, oldest and strongest demon, G. Crimson, and eldest sister of the true dragons, Felzard, are locked in battle of unimaginable proportions that could change the fate of the world forever.
With its servants, Ivaraj descended upon the Celestial Palace, a gateway to alternate realms. The vast gate, typically closed and guarded, was inexplicably open. No one could stop Ivaraj's advance. Leading an army of hellish beings, the innocent yet malevolent god strode forward across dimensions. Ivaraj had discovered fragments of the Axis world, remnants tied to Star King Dragon Veldanava. Fueled by hatred for those Veldanava loved, Ivaraj vowed to destroy everything.
The story is really about a guardian who breaks under loneliness and grief. Feldway begins as the first of Veldanava's 7 angels of origin, created to guard humanity and defeat threats like the mindless dragon Ivaraj. Isolated in the otherworld and soaked in Ivaraj's magicules, he and his followers change into phantoms, while cryptids and insectars grow around them. Feldway watches Veldanava favor humans, then disappear, and convinces himself that all of creation caused God to abandon them. His idea of justice twists into a plan of omnicide and revival, carried out with Michael and the Angel Army in the heavenly war against Rimuru's world. Did you know that Diablo almost lost his life during his battle with Feldway? Diablo was actually overpowered since Feldway was fighting in his true form, which surpassed even the true dragons. With the perfect body given by Veldanava and his Genesis-class weapon, the strongest weapon in Tensura, created solely by Veldanava, Feldway was an overwhelming force. To fight on equal footing, Diablo resorted to using Void Collapse, the most dangerous energy capable of destroying the world. Thanks to his exceptional combat experience and mastery of techniques, he managed to battle Feldway evenly. However, excessive use of Void Collapse caused his body to start disintegrating, putting him on the verge of death. Fortunately, Rimuru arrived just in time to save him, giving Diablo a part of his own body disguised as a recovery potion. Rimuru tossed it to Diablo using teleport, ensuring Feldway couldn't interfere. Realizing the significance of this gift, Diablo was moved to tears, overwhelmed with gratitude, and declared he would treasure it as a family heirloom. Thanks to this regeneration, Diablo not only recovered but also mastered the Void, something no one else could control. With this newfound power, he was able to defeat Feldway.
The world was dyed white as a blizzard of despair swirled from the outer edge of the battlefield to the center, encircling everyone so that no one could escape. The pure white snow and ice raged on. The soldiers were the first to be transformed into ice sculptures, followed by the captains and even the top warriors. Only the fearful remained, but it was only a matter of time. Velzard had not even attacked them. This blizzard was nothing more than the release of her hockey. For those who understood it, this phenomenon was an overwhelming wave of hopelessness. After her elder brother Veldanava passed away, there is no one that she can ever call as her closest person. Veldrind and Veldora, despite being her siblings, have never truly understood her beneath that icy facade. Guy, despite staying with her every day, has never really cared for her like she wanted. Thus, she always remains alone, standing at the top with no one, making her truly the white ice empress, Velzard. Velzard was more than twice as powerful as Guy and had unimaginable power. She was not just the sister of the Creator, she was the most absolute on Earth. The only time she got serious was when she took on Guy. The only reason Guy was able to fight her on even terms was because of his superior combat ability. On top of that, he always tried his best to keep the ground as unaffected as possible, so one could understand how terrifying a man like Guy Crimson was. The battle, as always, led to a stalemate. And then Guy realized, this person wasn't being controlled after all. No, she was being controlled, but it seemed to be the result of not daring to resist, because it was in line with Velzard's wishes. Velzard seemed to be very happy. It was a very familiar look that could only be seen in the midst of battle. Rather than good news, this was a disappointing fact. A long-repressed desire that had been suppressed for so many years, only to be unleashed because of Feldway and the others. That means that this relationship would not improve until Velzard was convinced. If she was only being controlled, it would have been enough to release it. But since she wasn't, there was nothing Guy could do. Velzard wasn't the kind of person who responded to persuasion. The only way to bring her to her senses was for Guy to stay with her until she was satisfied. Good grief, man. While complaining about this, Guy fearlessly sneered, and then he happily intercepted Velzard.
Velzard's in full rampage mode. Guy and Testarossa have to rely on nihility just to stop the whole battlefield from getting shredded. And even then, it's barely enough. And then Rimuru walks in, expands his dragon hockey, mixes it with nihility, and in one instant shuts down Belzar's Haki and Guy plus Testa's Nihility like it's nothing. Guy is straight up pissed and confused. He literally can't even perceive Rimuru's existence properly. And Rimuru? He slips into slime form, wraps around a rampaging Belzard, and just stops her rampage. No wonder Guy's inner monologue was basically, who the hell is this guy? Well, he's just a slime. In the quiet stillness before the world had shaken, Veldanava, the Star King Dragon, gazed upon the fragile life cradled in his arms. A soul born not from flesh, but from pure possibility. A tiny spark that shimmered brighter than any star he had ever woven into existence. In that moment, even the creator of worlds felt something he had never known. Hope. He lifted the newborn, letting the radiance of creation wash gently across the small, formless body. You will be the light that guides the ages, he whispered, a rare warmth softening the voice of a god. And with that conviction, he bestowed a name meant to carry destiny, rebirth, and endless potential. Elpis, the embodiment of hope itself. Long before he would rise as Rimuru Tempest, before nations and legends, he was simply Elpis. The child of the Creator was scattered, reborn far from divine eyes, hidden within fate's blind spot. With a human's death, a slime is born. The world shakes. That soul resurfaced as Rimuru Tempest, a seemingly harmless existence that evolved with every challenge, every victory, every kill, until the sealed divinity inside him began to awaken. This was never chance. This was the rise of Veldanava's heir, a god reborn in the body of a monster. With the final impact shot, Rimuru is crowned in the celestial flame of creation. The world does not face a demon lord, but the true dragon of the creator god himself. A divine calamity destined to rewrite existence. Feldway fled back to Heavenly Star. His body aches after being turned to dust by Diablo, but he feels relieved now that he has come this far. There are still no signs of recovery, but he should be able to heal with time. The point is, he just needs to buy time. Feldway walked along the ruined path, heading towards the throne. However, there was an unexpected customer there. Hey, you've been beaten pretty badly. Sitting lazily on the throne was Dino, who was supposed to be conquering Ramirez's labyrinth.
Dino Pica and Gracia reveals something that destroys any remaining illusion of authority Feldway thought he had. The divine influence that allowed Feldway to forcibly control them has weakened or collapsed entirely. They're no longer under his command and no longer interested in supporting his plan. They call him out for manipulating them without consent, for dragging them into his personal goal and obsession, and for steering the world into destruction for reasons that never actually made sense. It even comes to the point that the three of them completely ignore Feldway's presence and start talking amongst each other that Rimuru is back and maybe they can actually join him again. Their departure is not angry or dramatic, they simply just walk away, declaring the partnership over. Dino even tells Feldway that his eyes are clouded and that he has lost sight of whatever purpose he once had.
Later, while Guy was trying to save Velzard, the truth finally came out. Velzard revealed that Veldanava had actually revived long before the war, even before Rimuru's reincarnation. However, he returned without his former ego, without the personality or compassion he once had. All he desired was to become the omnipotent and omniscient god he once was. Because of this, Velzard was forced to stop him by sealing him in a death-like state. She hid this truth from everyone, terrified that someone like Feldway would break the seal without understanding the catastrophic consequences.
Feldway watches Veldanava favor humans, then disappear, and convinces himself that all of creation caused God to abandon them. His idea of justice twists into a plan of omnicide and revival, carried out with Michael and the Angel Army in the Heavenly War against Rimuru's world. Later, after Michael's death and Veldanava's shocking return, Feldway finally realizes he only wanted his master to stop him, not cheer him on, and turns against Veldanava to protect the world he tried to erase.
Veldanava no longer had any interest in the world. It had taken his beloved wife, Lucia, from him, and that alone was a sin beyond comprehension to the god of creation. If you're doing all of this because of Lucia, wouldn't it make more sense to just reincarnate her yourself, Rimuru? Don't threat him asked. But Veldanava explained that it was impossible. Lucia's soul had already reincarnated into countless fragments across different worlds. Because of that, Veldanava found only one way to bring her back, by destroying all worlds themselves. Only then would he reincarnate Lucia to renew a better world in their place.
Veldanava thrust his sword sharply, and at the moment Rimuru blocked it. Rimuru was engulfed by a gentle sensation, his consciousness faded, and he collapsed into a slime as Veldanava took Rimuru's soul into his hand, shining faintly in the suspended world. Satisfied, the creator turned his back, already preparing to leave. For what threat could remain once the soul was gone? Then a voice echoed behind him. You think removing my soul is enough to kill me? Silence followed. Power surged where nothing should have existed. A will remained, unbound by flesh, unbound by law. I was a monster before I had a body, the voice continued. I ruled before I had a throne. The soul did not fade. It multiplied. You created life to obey the rules, Rimuru said. I exist beyond them. Veldanava stopped. For the first time since creation, a god hesitated. If a soul were enough to define me, the voice whispered, then I would never have reached this far. Like Veldanava was surprised too. Good, good. If I can even surprise the creator god, then that's a big win for me. However, there was no doubt that this was a troubling situation. This is the biggest crisis situation we have ever faced. The reason is that Ciel isn't inside me right now. No, seriously. I was confused and didn't notice her speaking to me. But then she disappeared. I thought, what? And asked a question, but there was no reply as usual. I'm seriously in trouble. Or rather, I want to cry. This was the first time since I was reincarnated that I had felt so lonely. It was only natural that I would feel anxious. To begin with, most of my powers were properly managed by Ciel. Now that Ciel is gone, it means that I can no longer use them. facing Veldanava, an enemy on a scale I had never faced before, I was now completely powerless. It was impossible not to despair. Veldanava was dragged into the sea of thoughts, where two voices echoed. Startled, he muttered, "Could it be Lucia?" A calm voice answered, "No, that's not true. I am Ciel, the Manas, the Wisdom Core, who exists for the supreme Rimuru Sama." Ciel continued, "Master is all-powerful, but with me around, he couldn't fully accept his own achievements. Therefore, I used you." Behind Ciel, Veldanava sensed a presence he knew well. "Are you really Lucia?" A gentle voice replied, "Yes." Ciel gathered the fragments of my soul and restored me. Then Ciel explained everything. Ciel combined the many elements that had gathered around Rimuru, as well as the Lucia factors that Veldanava had collected, and succeeded in recreating Lucia. Shizue Izawa, Hinata Sakaguchi, Chloe Obel, and several others had fragments of Lucia's genes scattered throughout them. They had all been collected through Rimuru and then integrated by Ciel. It's finally finished. There are still some missing elements, so it's not perfect, but the match rate is over 99%. And thus, Lucia's soul separated from Rimuru's, appearing before Veldanava.
Ivaraj, the dragon of destruction, begins absorbing everything. Not eating, but reverting things back into their original state. Veldanava understands he cannot escape. This is his punishment, the final consequence of all the mistakes he made. His loneliness, his selfishness, and the chaos he spread across the worlds. The true final opponent for Rimuru is not Veldanava alone, but a fused entity after Ivaraj devours Veldanava and Lucia's souls, just beings. This makes Ivaraj the ultimate antagonist of the volume and the main story's conclusion. Rimuru ultimately defeats this combined, highly malicious entity. In a move characteristic of his character and powers, he consumes the defeated Ivaraj Veldanava fusion. This act absorbs their power and brings the final conflict to an end. Rimuru, now recognized as a successor to Veldanava and Mortal God, is ultimately successful in saving the day.
For the first time, Feldway saw a future that did not require a god's command. A world that moved forward not because it was forced, but because it was believed in. The villain who once sought to shape the world through obedience found himself drawn to someone who changed it through will. And without realizing it, Feldway stopped trying to correct Rimuru Tempest and began to follow him.